Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It's finally time to go over SmackDown. And that's SmackDown from July 26th, 2013 from Corpus Christi, Texas. And I just realized I had to move my mic. Oi. Hope that recorded everything. Yes. Again, just make sure everything was clear. That's SmackDown from July 26, 2013 from Corpus Christi, Texas. Okay. I'm in the wrong damn place. Yeah, that way. Anyways, the show starts with the intro video, and as soon as that's done, Randy Orton comes out. And then Damien Sandow comes out, and Sandow's cutting a promo on his way to the ring like he usually does. And, excuse me just a second. Sorry about that. Right, so Orton and Sandow are in the ring and they start having a match. And this turns out to be a good match. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. It was a good match. In any event, the story, I suppose, that they wanted to tell with this match is right at the very end, Cody Rhodes comes down, of course, and Randy had been knocked out of the ring. Cody comes down, goes right by him, goes over to the timekeeper's area, and grabs Damien's Money in the Bank briefcase. He just grabs it and he starts running off with it. And this distracts Cody long enough, or not Cody, distracts Sandow long enough. Randy's able to roll back in the ring, grabs Sandow, whip him around, and hit the RKO on him and get the 1, 2, 3. So, Randy wins, and Cody leaves with the briefcase. But it was a good match. Backstage, we see CM Punk walking through one of the hallways, whatever. It looks like he's coming out to the ring. Oh yeah, one thing of note is there was a commercial break during the Orton and Sandow match. And, yeah, because it went on for a while. So they had to cut to a commercial. But anyways, right, so Punk's walking through one of the hallways backstage, whatever. And so Punk's walking through one of the hallways backstage, and they cut to another commercial, whatever. Okay. We come back from the commercial, and Punk comes out. He comes down to the ring, and he starts talking. And it's basically just a promo. He's still going on about Brock and Heyman. And he does mention one of the things I learned from Heyman is to, about being one of the dirtiest players in the game, and, you have to use your opponent's weakness, and whatever. So he goes over Brock's weakness, which is, what did he say Brock's weakness is? I think he said Brock's weakness was Heyman. And then he said Heyman's weakness is his ego, of course. Right, so right, so he's talking about Heyman and everything, and probably not such a good idea. I'm doing this while playing the game. I don't know, I'm kind of getting distracted. Let me just stand here for a minute then. Right, so Punk's cutting his promo about Brock and Heyman. And he's talking, he's in the middle of talking, and all of a sudden he gets cut off by Fandango's music. And I'm thinking, like, why is Johnny coming out now? But he comes out with Summer Rae, of course, and he does his whole entrance. He's dancing down to the ring with Summer, and then they get to the ring and he spins her down thing and whatever, and he jumps up and he hops over the ropes and gets in the ring. And just as he's getting in the ring, I don't even think anything even specific happens. He gets in the ring and immediately Punk attacks him, starts beating the hell out of him. I think he clocked him with the mic, because of course Punk still had the mic in his hands. He clocks him with the mic, he's punching the crap out of him, he beats the hell out of him, and then he picks him up on his shoulders and he hits the go to sleep. And then that's it. Johnny flies out of the ring after that, and Summer's checking on him, of course. And Punk leaves. That's pretty much the end of the segment. So Punk didn't even really get to finish what he was going to say. After that, they say that later tonight, the Wyatts will be in action finally tonight. It'll be their in-ring debut. And then they cut to a commercial. And when we come back, the Primetime Players and Wade Barrett are standing in the ring. And then Mark Henry's music hits, and out he comes. And then the Usos' music hits, and out they come. So we're going to have us a 6-man tag match. While the Usos are coming out, they recap Henry he called out the Shield on Raw, and they came out and they started beating the hell out of him, and then the Usos came out to save his punk ass. So whatever, but we're going to have us a 6-man tag match. Of course, it's the Primetime Players and Barrett versus Henry and the Usos. This match was crap. The only really note that I have for this match is during the match, the moron commentators, morons being Michael Cole and JBL, they start talking about this idiotic news story from lately. I don't know if you've heard about this. You probably have, because God knows it was all over every frickin' news channel. But the royal baby, yes, the baby of the prince and whoever the fuck in England, I don't really follow it, I don't care. But they start talking about that, and all I can think is, who gives a shit about this? It has nothing to do with wrestling. Why are you even bringing it up? But of course, they're being morons, so they have to bring it up. But they're talking about that during the match, and all I can think is, why? But either way, like I said, the match sucked. The finish came when Henry picks up Titus O'Neil, slams him with the world's strongest slam, and gets the win. The match wasn't really that long, and it sucked. You had 6 guys in there who completely suck. This match was craptastic, okay? But anyways, after the match, they say that later on tonight, AJ is going to come out and give her State of Mind address. She's just going to talk about her mental state of mind and whatever. But that's coming up for later tonight, so we're going to get to that. Yeah. They also mentioned that Del Rio is going to have a match versus Rob Van Dam later tonight. They cut to a commercial. When they come back, they recap Daniel Bryan going against Ryback and getting beat up by Ryback, and then Cena coming out to save him from Raw. And they also announced that because of that, we're going to have a double main event on Raw. And by the way, as I'm filming this, it is Monday, practically right before Raw, so that video will be coming up shortly after Raw tonight. I'll be posting this video. It'll probably be going up during Raw. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to have a double main event for Raw. That's going to be interesting. Anyways, double main event, which is going to be Daniel Bryan versus Kane, and then Cena versus Ryback in a tables match. Vicky is backstage in her office, and then Del Rio comes up and he starts saying that because Brad Maddox gave John Cena the opportunity to pick his own opponent for SummerSlam, Del Rio thinks that it's only fitting that Vicky gives Del Rio that same opportunity. And so that's what he wants. He wants to be able to pick his own opponent. RVD comes up and he says basically, you know, you should pick me. Whatever the fuck. That's pretty much the end of that segment. They cut backstage to Sandow going through the halls backstage. He's talking to random people, asking him, have you seen Cody? Have you seen Cody? He stole my briefcase. Have you seen Cody? Nobody's telling him shit. Nobody knows where Cody went. Damian even goes up to Sin Cara and starts talking to him. And we all know that Sin Cara doesn't frickin' speak English. So talking to him is pretty much pointless. Good Lord. Right, so, anyways, he goes up to Sin Cara, and we know that Sin Cara doesn't friggin' speak English. Damian's trying to ask him, and Sin Cara's just nodding his head like he understands, but he don't fucking understand. And then Damian just kind of walks away. He's like, you're freaking useless, man. Yeah, he is, because, you know, he doesn't fucking speak English. He doesn't hardly wrestle anymore, and when he does, he stinks up the joint, so why are we keeping him? Oh yeah, because he's Triple H's pet project. Yeah, that one failed, Trip. You might want to let him go. But anyways, back out in the arena, RVD comes out. And they cut to a commercial. And when they come back, Del Rio comes out. And Ricardo's still gone, so he's not there. So anyways, we get this match going. It's RVD and Del Rio. This match was short, and it was shit. Basically all that happened is shortly after the beginning of the match, Del Rio bails out to the outside of the ring, and he's basically just stalling. He's doing the old heel tactic of, oh, get him away from the ropes, I'm trying to get back in, you know, whatever. He tries to get back in a couple of times, but Rob runs over and basically chases him off. So he's stalling more and more, and it's just like, dude, you should have been counted out by now. He never got back in the ring. He never even, like, rolled under the bottom rope and then back out real fast to stop the count. You know, like that's an old thing that they used to do. He doesn't even do that. He gets up on the apron once, and I don't think that's supposed to break the count. but he doesn't get counted out. He finally shoos, RVD away, and the referee's like, come on, Rob, let's go over here and, let's set you up so Del Rio can jump you from behind. And that's pretty much what happens. Del Rio rolls in the ring real quick, and he tries to jump RVD from behind, but RVD sees it coming and blocks him and whatever. Del Rio quickly gets knocked into the corner, and he's begging off, basically. He's like, no mas, no mas. He's speaking Spanish for some reason. It's like, we know you can speak English, very poor English, but we know you can speak it. He's saying no mas to the referee like he's going to quit the match, like Ryback did a few weeks ago. But no. He's begging off, and Rob keeps coming into the corner to keep beating on him, and the referee keeps having to drag Rob back. And finally, as the referee's dragging Rob back one of these times, Del Rio jumps out of the corner and just super kicks RVD in the face, knocks him flat on his ass, covers him, and gets the 1-2-3. This cheap shot super kick right in the face just completely leveled Rob. And that was it. The match was short, it was garbage, and all it did was fill time. But after the match, we get another recap of, this time, Cody taking the briefcase from earlier. And then Sandow's backstage again, still looking for Cody. He bumps into Mark Henry and Booker T, who are talking together in a hallway. And Sandow tries to ask them, have you seen Cody? And I think it's Henry says, do I look like a snitch to you? And I'm like, good God. Anyways, whatever. After that, AJ comes down to the ring with Big E, and then they cut to a commercial. And when they come back, they recap Ziggler basically breaking up with AJ from a couple of weeks ago, and his little promo where he said he was sorry he didn't do it sooner. And then AJ freaking out and Big E trying to calm her down. And so finally, AJ starts talking. And she's saying that she's okay, she's not crazy, and, it's whatever. And then she reaches into one of her pockets. She's wearing these little shorts, tiny little shorts, and she reaches into a pocket and she pulls out this set of keys, and I'm like, okay, keys? And she says, these are the keys to Dolph Ziggler's house. And she says, I was planning on breaking in and burning everything to the ground, but since I'm okay, I'm just going to give these back to him. And so Ziggler's music hits, and out he comes. He comes out onto the stage, and he says he's changed the locks a couple of times, and he's given those keys away to hundreds or thousands of different chicks. And then he says that, AJ says that she has Ziggler's suitcase, his little travel bag with all his gear and stuff in it. And Ziggler's like, so what? Everything in that ring is disposable, and of course he's referring to AJ and Big E and all the stuff in the briefcase. But anyways, AJ reaches into the suitcase, she pulls out a pair of scissors, and she pulls out his wallet. And I'm like, why the hell would you... You honestly kept the wallet in the briefcase? That's kind of dumb. But she pulls out his wallet, and she pulls out his driver's license, and cuts it up. She's like, how are you going to drive without a driver's license? And he's like, yeah, whatever, I can go to the DMV. He said, I think he said, like, a day at the DMV is better than... will be like a picnic compared to, just spending any more time with you. And then she's like, okay, fine, I'll cut up your passport. She pulls out his passport and she cuts that up too. And he's like, yeah, whatever, I can get a new one of those. He even says, you know, there's actually a passport bureau, like, 2 blocks from my house. And I actually know the girl who works there because I taught her this thing. And he's like, never mind. So he's just talking a whole lot of smack. So AJ's like, okay, fine, what about all this money that's in your wallet? She starts ripping that up and throwing it around. And he's like, I don't really give a damn. And then she pulls out one of his credit cards and cuts that up, and he's like, yeah, I don't even really use that anymore. Who does? Like, get off the grid and whatever the fuck. And at this point, the crowd starts chanting, you're a psycho, at AJ. She rips into the suitcase, and she gets his clothes out, and she's throwing them around and ripping them up, and she's going frickin' crazy, and they start chanting, you're a psycho again. And AJ's still throwing her little hissy fit in the ring. She rolls out of the ring, and this whole time Ziggler's just been like, no, stop, whatever, you know. And AJ rolls out of the ring, and you hear Ziggler go from the stage. He's like, oh no, wait, look out. And then all of a sudden, Caitlyn just runs through AJ with a spear on the floor. Yeah, Caitlyn came from out of nowhere and just speared the hell out of AJ. Knocks her the hell out. And then she starts leaving, Caitlyn does. And Big E comes over to help AJ up, and as he's bent over to help AJ, Ziggler comes down and gives him the Fame-asser on the floor. Drops him on his face. And then Caitlyn and Ziggler both leave. And that's pretty much the end of that segment. They say that up next, or later on tonight, we're going to have Christian versus Jack Swagger. But the Wyatts are up next. Their in-ring debut, finally. They cut to a commercial break. When they come back, they do another recap of Cena picking Bryan as his opponent. And then they recap Bryan's gauntlet from Raw. And then Ryback putting him through the table. And then Cena coming out to help him and whatever the hell. We cut back into the arena after that. And tons of funk are in the ring. Brodus and Tensai, along with the Funkahors. And then the lights cut out, and they start doing the Wyatt entrance. They come out in the darkness, and Bray has his stupid little LED lantern. They sit him down in his little rocking chair, and then Harper and Rowan get their dumbasses into the ring, and then the match starts. So, of course, it's Tons of Funk versus the Wyatts. Once again, this match is short, and it's shit. Really all that happened was, I think Rowan beat the hell out of Sweet Tea for a little bit, and then tagged in Harper. Harper was beating on Sweet Tea, and then, actually I think Brodus got in the ring and he got thrown out, and Harper hits a discus clothesline on Sweet Tea and then tags in Rowan, who gets in the ring. He bounces off the ropes and he does like a froggy kind of splash, not like from the top rope. He just hits the ropes and comes running and jumps up and does like a froggy splash, and that's it. He covers them and gets the win. That was pretty much all that happened in this match. It was short, and it was shit. You've got 4 fucking hosses in this match. 4. Not a damn one of them can talk. Not a damn one of them is all that good at wrestling. This match was garbage. After that, Harper and Rowan look over at Bray sitting in his chair, and he gets up and he gets in the ring. And Harper and Rowan pick up Sweet Tea and they feed him into Bray, who grabs him and cinches him up for his finisher. And I don't know what the hell he calls it. I don't care. But it's basically what Fandango's move was, or what Mike Knox used to do. It's a kind of spinning, what to call it? Spinning mic check, essentially. Yeah, but that's what it is. He hits that on Sweet Tea, and then he gets a mic and he talks. And he's basically talking to Kane, because of course they, for some reason, want to start a feud between Kane and the Wyatts. Whatever. He basically says, Kane, we've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Just look at the skies and follow the buzzards. And that's pretty much it. And they cut away and they cut to a commercial. When they come back, Vicky's in her office again. And Sandow comes up to her and he's still looking for Cody. He's pissed. He wants Cody found. Vicky says, relax, I've called the authorities. You know, whatever. But Sandow, he says, that's not good enough. I want him found tonight. I'm going to find him tonight. And so he storms off. Back in the arena, Christian comes out. And then Swagger comes out with Zeb Coulter, and Coulter talks on the way to the ring. Whoop-de-doo. So after that, Christian and Swagger start having their match, and they actually put on a decent match. There's a commercial break during the match. But in any event, Christian finally is able to hit the kill switch and get the win. And as Christian is celebrating, Sandow's music hits, and out he comes. And he just kind of blows right on by Christian in the ring, and he's like, I want a microphone. And he says, Cody, I want you out here now. Or whatever. He's still looking for Cody. He starts saying to Vicky, he says, I want Cody arrested when... I want a warrant on them. I want Cody arrested and fired for being a thief. And then you hear Cody's voice. He's like, hey, Damien, up here. He's on the Titantron. And Cody says, hey, look, I'm out here at the Gulf of Mexico, which apparently, as the commentators say, is right across the street, right behind the arena in Corpus Christi there. So it's not even that far. It's like he said, it's literally across the street. But yeah, Cody's like, hey, I'm over here at the Gulf of Mexico. How about you come on over here? If you want this briefcase, come and get it. And so Sandow runs off. He runs to the back. He's going after it. And they cut to a commercial, and when they come back, Sandow's still leaving the building. But he finally gets out of the building, and he crosses the street. He even has a car stop for him. And then he finds Cody, and he starts sucking up to him, saying, you're more handsome than me, you're smarter than me, we were friends, we was a great tag team, and all this crap. And Cody's like, you know what, here, you've earned it. Come and have the case. And as Sandow's walking up to him, Cody just turns around and chucks the friggin' thing into the water, into the Gulf of Mexico. And Damien basically starts crying. He's like, no, my contract, my briefcase, And Cody, I think he says something to him. I don't remember what he said, but then he just kind of pisses off. And Damien starts freaking out. He's like, oh no, somebody help me. I can't swim. And I'm like, really? You can't swim? Why the hell can't you swim? But he dives into the water anyways. He just kind of jumps in, and he's just kind of flailing about. Of course, apparently he can't swim, so he can't get over to the briefcase. Whatever. So he's flailing about trying to get it. Not even really trying to get it. He just kind of flails about in the water for a minute. He gets out of the water. There's a little ladder on the edge of the water. There's like a concrete edge to it. So he gets out. There's a ladder there. He climbs up the ladder and gets out, and he's laying on the ground. He's all soaking wet. He starts coughing up water. They show a replay of him, first of all, of Cody throwing the briefcase into the water. And then they cut back to Sandow. He's still laying there shivering from the cold water. And then they show another replay. This time it's of Damien just jumping in. And then they cut back to him again. He's still sitting on the edge just shivering. And that's the end of the show. That's it. So, yeah. So, that was the end of the show. Wasn't really that great of a show. You had 2 or 3 really bad matches. It was 3, actually. Yes, the 6-man, the Primetime Players, and Barrett versus Henry and Usos was crap. RVD versus Del Rio was crap. And the big debut of the Wyatt Hosses versus frickin' Tons of Funk, that match was terrible. It was like a 30-second match. It sucked. But you did have Christian and Swagger, and that was a decent match. It was good. And you had Orton versus Sandow that started the show. That was a good match. The segment with AJ, Big E, and Ziggler, that was funny. Ziggler's always funny. He's a funny guy. And he's a damn good wrestler, so. Yeah, that was a good segment. But that was pretty much it for the show. Don't think there's really anything else to say. The Wyatts still suck. Del Rio is still a piece of crap. Sin Cara still can't speak English and really just needs to leave. Why in the hell did Johnny decide to come out during CM Punk's promo? He didn't even get to say anything. He got in the ring and Punk just mauled him immediately, beat the hell out of him, hit the GTS on him, and that was it. I like Johnny, but like, why interrupt Punk? Doesn't make any sense. But anyways, that was it for SmackDown from July 26, 2013. As I mentioned in the Raw video, they are taping a whole bunch of shows over the course of the next couple of weeks. So, stuff might seem a bit weird. So, yeah. Raw is about an hour from now. It's about 7 o'clock now, yeah. So I've got about an hour until Raw starts. I will be taking my notes for that, and I will be getting the video up for that, recorded and everything, later on tonight. Right now, I'm going to get this one uploaded, and yes, but stay tuned for Raw. That will be up in just a little bit, and we will see you for that. So, thank you for watching, and we will see